Hello students, welcome to the physics guide. Today we will discuss about force. So before discussing in detail, I will like to mention the points which will I cover in this session. First of all, I will discuss about the force, what is force, its definition, and then I will cover its effect of forces, example of force, and then the types of forces. Now, what is force? In our everyday life, we are familiar with the word, and each and every moment we are applying the force. Whenever we are going to write with a pen, we are applying force in the pen. Whenever we are going to open the door or closing the door, we are applying force. At the time of cooking, at the time of turning over the pages, in each and every field we are applying force regularly. And even whenever we are going to drink water, we are holding the bottle, the grip is also applying the force on the bottle. So what is force? You might have noticed that whenever you are going to open a drawer, you need to pull, or whenever you are going to close, you are pushing the drawer. So basically, force is the act of pulling or pushing an object. And the second point is force. The total force is a system that needs minimum two objects. That is, force is the interaction between two or more objects. Whenever I am applying a force on the pen to open the cap, first of all, my hand is applying force on the pen, and the effect goes on the pen to open it. So there are two objects. One is my hand who is applying the force, and other is the pen on which force is applied. So force is the interaction between the objects. Whenever two objects interact with each other, the force and the effects are found. My hand is giving the force and the cap is getting opened. This is the effect of the force. Now let's come to the example of forces. As I have discussed earlier, that writing with a pen, walking on the floor, driving a car, drinking water, or anything, whatever we are doing by using some actions, having the pushing or pulling effect, everything is the example of force. Now, what are the effects of force? The firstly, I will like to tell that force can change the speed or motion or state of motion of an object. Rather, an object has two states. It can be either stationary or in motion. So whenever force is applied in a stationary object, that is object at rest, then after applying force, this object can get motion. And in vice versa, whenever an object is in motion and force is applied to it, it can be rest. Moreover, the speed can be decreased, speed can be increased. Whenever then an object is in motion and we are applying force on it, then the speed can be changed. So in this way, force can affect the motion state or stationary state of an object. I would like to show you one thing regarding this. This is, suppose this is a fan, and if I put it on, see, this is in motion. My son has made this. So this is in motion. Now if I apply force in this, it becomes at rest or stationary objects. Okay, again remove the force, it becomes in, again it is in motion, again it is in rest. So force can change in this way the rest state or motion state of an object. Secondly, force can change the shape of the object. At the time, often when you're in kitchen, you have seen kneading of dough at the time of making puri. So we are kneading the dough and we are making its different shape, isn't it? So by applying our palm, we are kneading the dough and the dough is getting different shape. So force can change the shape of the object also. Moreover, you might have seen the melted wax. At the time when it is melted and getting cooled down, and you can change the shape easily of that wax by applying force. So force is also useful to changing the shape of the object. Now another is the change in direction. Whenever force is applied to an object, when the object is in motion and we apply the force, it can change the direction of the object. Whenever in cricket, when we often see that the bowler, when he throws the ball and batsman hits the ball, the direction of the ball is getting changed because of the batsman applied force on the ball by the bat, and that's why it changes the direction due to applying force. So force in this way can change the direction of the objects also. There are lots of examples regarding this. In everyday life you can see, if you are aware about that, in each and every moment you can find out the lots of examples of the effects of forces. Now let's come to the point, types of force. Basically there are two types of forces. One is contact force and another is non-contact force. From this word, listening the word, you got the idea about contact and no contact. Contact means the physical touch is necessary for the force, and no contact means without any contact the force is acting on an object. So let's discuss about the contact force. So whenever two objects are physically in contact, then one object applies force on another object in this contact position is called contact force. Okay, suppose consider about this light, this fan system. I was turning on the fan and the fan was moving, and I am applying my force on it by touching it by contact, and this fan is getting stopped. This is the example of contact force. Okay. Another force is example of contact force, we can say muscular force, frictional force, mechanical force. Whenever we are applying our force through our hand, that is or through our muscles, these are belong to mechanical force, muscular force, and there is another is frictional force. So muscular force comes from the word muscle. So due to the contraction of our muscle, we are applying the force on some objects is the muscular force. Suppose a horse is pulling a cart. So the horse is using his muscle power, muscle force to the car to pull it. That is contact force. We are kneading dough with the help of our hand, and our muscles also are necessary in this case. We are giving the force here. So this is contact force. We are lifting a heavy object upward. So this needs a muscle force, that is muscular force. At the same time, we have a direct touch, direct contact of the object, and we are using our muscles. So muscular force is applied on that object. Next we will come in frictional force. Frictional force is another type of contact force which mainly opposes the movement of an object. It prevents the motion, it decreases the speed of an object. Like whenever we can say, suppose this is a globe, we can see, and if we move this globe, look, there is no motion. It is not moving, isn't it? Why? It is not moving in our palm, because our palm and this surface of the earth globe and the surface of our palm is getting a frictional force, and this frictional force is opposing the motion of that globe, so it is not rotating, isn't it? So this is the force, frictional force, that prevents the motion of the object. So we can say that friction is the type of force that can resist the motion of one surface in contact of other surface. There are some good effects as well as some bad effects also in case of friction. So first discuss about the beneficial sides of friction. Whenever we are walking, we are applying our feet and the floor. These are two parts are getting interaction. There are interaction between the feet and the floor, and there is friction. So that the friction is preventing our movement, so that we are not getting slipped and we can walk safely on the floor. Whenever we are working on a surface, suppose oil is spilled on the floor, at the time we are working on the oil, so oil makes the place slippery. Friction is very less, so we may slip down. There are lots of fields are there also. So the beneficial side is that with the help of friction we can walk, we can write. Okay, these are the beneficial sides, useful sides of friction. Whenever we are writing on the paper, the two surfaces, one the point of the pen and the paper, frictional force is generated, and so that we can write it. And what are the disadvantages of friction? First of all, friction produces a lot of heat. We can feel whenever we rub our hands, heat is generated. This is the friction. And in some electrical circuits, due to the lot of, or heavy machineries having lots of friction, huge heat is generated, causing the damage in machinery. So this is the bad effect, bad side of the frictional force. Now what is the cause? Ultimately we have to know that why the frictional force arises. Because of this surface, the roughness of this surface, one surface locks the roughness of another surface, and due to this surface is getting locked in another surface, the motion is getting prevented. That's why we can say that frictional force is generated here to prevent the motion. Okay. Friction always arises in opposite direction of the motion, and so that it prevents the movement or the motion, resist the speed or the motion of the object. Now there are two types of surfaces where the friction acts more or less. One is rough surface, another is smooth surface. In rough surface there is more friction, so the motion becomes less, and in smooth surface the friction gets less and motion becomes more. You might have familiar with this whenever you are walking on the smooth road or you are driving a vehicle on the smooth road, you feel comfortable because of speed is also perfect because of its smoothness and less friction. And whenever there is a very the roads where you are working or you are driving, there are lots of ups and downs, etc. So there is much more friction due to the roughness of the road, and the speed is getting resisted there. Whenever some oil is spilled on the floor, the oil makes the floor very smooth, so friction becomes very less, and this is quite dangerous also because someone can slip down. So the surface depends also the how the frictional force will be generated. It will be more or less, that depends, obviously depends on the surface. Okay students, this much for today's session. Next day I will discuss about the non-contact force, and if you have any query, you can comment me, you can ask me. I will try to give the answer. And okay, next day we will learn about the non-contact force, and I will cover the other part regarding the force. Later we will also discuss the question answers. What are the useful question answers or tricky questions in forces? You can also ask me the questions. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, see you in the next class. Bye.